There is a man we want to honor. One man single-handedly cut the death toll from that terrible day nearly in half. He saved 2,700 people, and it's likely you have never heard his name. This is his story, and you'll meet the woman he loved and how she is honoring his memory. Rick Rescorla was a security officer at Morgan Stanley in the South Tower. Ever since the towers were hit in 1993, the 62-year-old Vietnam vet suspected it was still a target and told his wife as much. It's why he insisted the Morgan Stanley workers perform regular escape drills, practicing getting thousands down quickly from 22 floors in the South Tower. Those drills to the annoyance of many of the workers. Bill McMahon was one of the employees.
And he was convinced, I know you've heard this, that this was going to happen again. He just didn't know how, but he knew something was going to happen.
And then it happened.
And that's when the plane hit us. And it blew out all the elevator banks, all the doors. So all the doors blew off and knocked us all over, and the building kind of tips like this and comes back. Now, it doesn't seem that much when you watch it on TV, but when we were in the building, it literally moved back and forth.
Despite receiving official instruction to stay in place, Rick refused, grabbed his megaphone and told the workers to follow the evacuation plan, just as they practiced. Rick sang songs from his childhood to keep everyone calm.
And he's telling everybody to be cool, everybody's gonna be good, and that's kind of what he did.
Once it seemed all were evacuated, Rick went back to make sure nobody was left behind.
Rick said, you know what, I got to go up now and sweep the floors and make sure that everybody's out of the building. And that's why he didn't get out.
He didn't make it out of the building, but because of him, 2,700 people did.
I mean, in my view, Rick is just a true American hero.
And we are joined by Susan Rescorla. Susan, I cannot thank you enough for sharing a little of Rick with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
What do you want people to know about Rick?
My husband was really a man of the universe. He was a true Renaissance person. I've never met anybody like him in my whole life, and I have known him better in death now than I did in life because we were only married a little over 2.5 years. And every single day he amazed me with his whole being. So anyway, everything he did was wonderful. And we had a wonderful 2.5 years together.
Why were these safety drills so important to him? And what would he tell you about them?
I have to tell you that last, month of his life with me, he was absolutely trying to tell me that, he was trying to tell me that he thought something would happen. And even in the car, he would say to me, you'll remember me in the petal of a flower and the leaf of a tree. And every time he talked about that, I always said, why do you keep talking like this? But now, after he died, I did know why. Because he wanted me to know everything that he wanted me to do. And that's what I did.
So you believe that he actually had some sort of sense, a premonition or a feeling that something might happen?
He definitely had a feeling. Even the last week of his life, it kept getting more intense. And I could just tell that there was a difference in him. And I knew that he had a lot of things on his mind, and that's exactly what it was.
What did he tell you about the drills specifically? Because they were very important to him, and not everybody in the office was on board with it, right?
Right. Now, you have to remember that, for 2.5 years that I was married to him, I knew that, that they were getting very annoyed with him because he kept making them, drill and everything. And at the end of the day, it was exactly what he wanted them to be able to do to get out of that building. And that's what happened on that day, when he came out of the building and then he went back up and he followed the firemen up. And when he got to the top, he wanted to make sure that everyone on that top floor was out of there. And right before the towers came down, he called me and he said to me, if something happens to me, I just want you to know that you made my life. And so I was prepared. At least I thought I was prepared. And then, of course, after it happened, you just don't know what to do. And I can imagine all these other people too. It's it's like you can be very religious and you can go to church and you can have one of the church people come to your home. I did Reiki. I can't tell you how many different kinds of things I did to try and to stop me from crying and to be so upset for this incredible thing that happened to all those people on that day. It's just something that is with me and all those others who lost loved ones. It's with you all the time. You just have to go on and know that, I know that someday I will be with him, and that's what I look forward to.
Susan, you two had a routine nearly every single morning before he went to work. You say something felt different that morning before he left. Can you tell us exactly what that feeling was?
Yes, that day, I was always up very early in the morning, and I was always the first one down there, and I was always making him breakfast before he would go. And this morning, he got up really, really early, and he was gathering his things together and so forth, but he just seemed a little bit different that day. So he did call me when he got to work, like he always did, and asked me what I was doing. And I said I was hanging the clothes up to go on the trip and so forth and so on. And then, of course, I got the final call when his best friend had called me to tell me to turn on the television. And that's when I saw everything come down.
I can't imagine what that experience was like. And you did share with us just a few minutes ago that he did call you. He called you,
Yes.
and he shared those words with you. Is there a message that you want to send to people who lost loved ones in the attack?
Yes, I can imagine that all of us are the same underneath the same thing. I bet you anything that you can never forget this, and but I don't want anybody to forget this, especially people who have lost loved ones. I will never forget, believe me.
I know. I hear you. And Susan, what has your life been like in the last 21 years? Did you remarry? What is this weekend like for you?
Okay, well, this is, I usually am very quiet, but what I did was after he died, I just decided that I did many things, okay? I did everything he asked me to do, which was number one. Number two, I started traveling. I've been traveling since I was 16, but I wanted to go to various countries and ask the young people, what did they think about what happened to America on that day? So I never stopped. His two best friends and I started a foundation and they to raise money to put up a statue of him that we did do, and it went down to Fort Benning, Georgia, where he went out before he went to Vietnam. Then anybody could see. On one side, it's 9/11, and on the other side, it's the Vietnam War. So anyway, I kept talking to people all these years, and I think I've done some very good things, and I just didn't want anyone to forget what happened on that day, and I never will.
Incredible things that you've done, Susan. Thank you. And, Susan, there are entire generations of families that exist because of your husband. What does it mean to you when people say, I am alive, or my loved ones are alive because of Rick?
And I am so happy because he not only made all those people, come out and have to go up and down those stairs all the time. I know they were angry and everything, but something, I'm very proud that he continued to have these people do that so that they could get out. And of course, the people that did not, I pray for their families also, always.
Susan, is there anything else that you would like us to know today?
I just think my husband was one of the most interesting, one of the most incredible people I've ever met. He was kind to everyone. If he got off a train and he saw somebody that didn't have a coat on, or he looked as if they needed money, he always stopped, or he went home and got clothing and he brought back to give them. And he just, was like that as a child. I knew that from, his childhood friends and so forth. And I just think that this was a man who he loved people, and I think that if you met him, you would never forget him. That's how I would describe him. Never forget him, and I will love him for the rest of my life.
Susan, your love certainly shines through. Thank you so much for your time. We are touched by your husband's heroism and certainly by your strength and your good works. Thank you so much.
And I thank you. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.